remember the first time I heard Vivaldi's violin playing, like a river of silver cutting through the silence of a cathedral. It carved a path through my mind. The sound was not just heard, it was felt, a vibration that settled in the bones, like a memory that had never been lived. The Vespers, though evening prayers, were not just worship, but an act of devotion to sound, to the divine rhythm of the world. And in the heart of it all, the violin, a solitary voice, rising like a ghost from the past, still singing through the stones of Venice. This is not just a performance. It is a whisper from the past, a melody that has traveled through time, waiting to be heard again. We're talking about a moment where sound becomes prayer, and the violin becomes a voice in the dark. It's not just music. It's a dialogue with the divine, a whisper from the past to the present, carried by strings. We're listening to the rhythm of a city that once thrived on water and art, where the church and the canal were never far apart. This is more than a performance. It's a memory made audible, a moment suspended between time and eternity. In this moment, the violin is not just an instrument. It is a vessel, a bridge, a prayer without words. There is a silence in the world that only Vivaldi's violin can break. It is not loud, but it cuts through the noise of time like a blade through fabric. The sound of the violin is not just music, it is memory, a whisper from the past that still hums in the air, waiting to be heard. These are not just notes. They are stories, written in silence, carried on the wind, and only heard by those who know how to listen. You might not know it, but you've always been listening. The music is in your bones, in your breath, in the way you feel the world shift when it's quiet. This is not just art. It is a reminder that even in the silence, something is still alive, something that you were meant to hear. The first flicker of Vivaldi's genius was not in the concert hall, but in the flickering candlelight of a Venetian monastery, where the sacred chant met the sharp, resonant voice of the violin. Venice, a city of canals and whispers, cradled a musical revolution that would echo through time, shaped by the devotion of monks and the ambition of composers. In the 1720s, Vivaldi began to weave his voice into the Vespers, transforming them from mere liturgical acts into a symphony of the soul, where the violin sang with both fire and faith. The Vespers were not just music. They were a reflection of Venice itself, a city of faith and ambition, where the sacred and the secular danced in a delicate, eternal balance. As the years passed, Vivaldi's compositions became more than sound. They were the very pulse of a city, a spiritual heartbeat that carried the weight of centuries. And so, through the centuries, the violin's cry in the Vespers has remained, a whisper of the past, a song of the soul, and a promise of what Venice once was and still is. Imagine a little violin all by itself, playing a song that makes the whole room feel like it's breathing. It's not just making noise. It's telling a story, one note at a time, like a whisper from the past. It's like the violin is trying to say something to the sky, something too big for words. And in that moment, you feel like you're not just listening. You're being held by the music. It's a moment that feels like it's been waiting for you, just for a second to remember how to feel. The first step begins with the cathedral itself, a hushed monument where time seems to pause. The air is thick with the scent of incense and the weight of centuries, as if the city breathes in slow, solemn rhythms. Inside, the space is a cathedral of sound, where every echo carries the weight of devotion. The priest, draped in deep red, steps forward, his hands poised over the manuscript as if it holds the breath of the divine. The violin rests on a velvet cloth, its body gleaming in the dim light. It is not merely an instrument, but a vessel, a bridge between the earthly and the eternal, ready to speak the music of the heavens. The musician, draped in a simple black cassock, kneels before the altar, the instrument in hand. His fingers are still, but his heart is already moving, ready to translate the sacred into sound. The first note will not be played yet. The moment is held, like a breath before a prayer, like the hush before the dawn, waiting for the voice of the divine to awaken the strings. The mechanism begins with the bow, a slender shaft of horsehair, gripped between the fingers like a fragile living thing. It is the first touch of sound, the whisper of the world awakening. As the bow glides across the strings, the vibration is not heard yet, but felt, a tremor in the air, a ripple in the silence that precedes music. It is the breath before the voice. Through the body of the violin, the sound is shaped, amplified, and given form. The wood, carved with care, becomes a vessel for the vibration, a bridge between the physical and the spiritual. Then, the sound escapes through the F-holes, like breath exhaled from a sacred place. It is not just sound. It is the voice of the city, the pulse of Venice in the hush of a Vespers. In that moment, the mechanism is complete. Not a machine, but a living dialogue between hand, string, wood, and soul. The twist is not in the music, but in the silence that follows it. A moment so still that the air seems to hold its breath, as if the city itself is listening. In this silence, the music becomes something more than sound. Becomes presence, a ghost of the moment, lingering in a space between notes. Vivaldi's music is not just played. It is released, like a prayer that floats through the canals and lingers in the hearts of those who hear it. The twist is in the way the music is both heard and felt, not just by the ears, but by the soul, which is where the true silence begins. The strings of the violin vibrate at a frequency that resonates not just with the air, but with the very bones of the city itself. This is how Venice listens, how it breathes. Each note, a pulse in the body of the water. Each phrase, a current beneath the surface. The music is not just heard. It is felt through the foundations of the city. The physics of resonance, the science of sound, is not separate from the soul of the city. It is the bridge between the spiritual and the material, the ethereal and the real. There is a sacred geometry in this music, a harmony between the human hand and the natural world, between the instrument and the city that cradles it. In this resonance, there is a quiet understanding. The music is not just a reflection of Venice. It is Venice, vibrating, alive, and remembering. The violin is like a bird in a cathedral. It sings without wings. It carries the weight of silence, and it fills the air with something that cannot be held. The notes are not meant to be seen, but they are felt in the bones, like the echo of a bell that has long since stopped ringing. To play the violin in a Vespers service is to be both priest and prophet, carrying the weight of the divine in the shape of a bow and a string. In the end, the music is not about skill, but surrender, a letting go of the self, a giving over to the ancient, sacred rhythm of the world. Before you go, if you enjoyed this, please give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And tell us in the comments what you'd like us to make next. We read every single one. Thank you so much for watching. Comment this emoji if you made it to the end.